for now we wait for the race to get underway. The green flag has been waved. The cars get underway. A pretty even start from the two on the front row of the grid, but Jason Wood, of course, will have the inside line in that PDC prepared Nova, and so he leads going into the first corner, taking the lead away from the pole sitter Pete Morgan. It's Ed Cooper who's also managed to dispatch of James Hazelhurst by the looks of it into third position as well. So Jason Wood leads going into the first corner, and Ed Cooper has actually been able to get second position away from Pete Morgan. James Hazelhurst trying to get a move done on the inside there as well. So the pole sitter is really being squeezed out. Yesterday's race winner, of course, there as well. No changes in his ballast for this race, but still running an extra 25 kilos compared to the standard weight.
Yeah, I can only imagine that Pete must have a little bit of a bog down. He's got 25 kilos up on yesterday, and it obviously affected him on the start. And Jason Wood getting a nice, good breakaway. And now James Hazelhurst is fighting with Neil Dubman. He's a race winner from Brands Hatch, is Neil Dubman, and they're fighting over those places. So I can see these lot breaking away.
Jason Wood and James Hazelhurst are the cars that have got extra ballast compared to yesterday. An extra 15 kilos for Jason Wood. Doesn't seem to be hurting him too much at the moment. James Hazelhurst, their heaviest car out there, with 35 kilos, an additional 10 from yesterday. But at the end of the first lap of racing, it's Jason Wood who leads by 0.6 of a second. And Pete Morgan has recovered exceptionally well, because he's side by side now with Ed Cooper for second place and gets that one back on the inside through Copse Corner. So Ed Cooper squeezed out. Neil Dudman is off the road, bouncing over the curbing in his battle with James Hazelhurst, I presume that is. But it did look like Terry Roughton was taking a rough ride over the rumble strips as well.
Yeah, see, Pete Morgan has just got the inside line, heading this corner. Yes, he's desperately trying to catch up with the Wood machine, who got a cracking start now. Jason Wood actually got his first win here at Silverstone last year, and I'm sure he wants to stay exactly where he is, but Pete won't make it easy for him as they go down the Bentley Straight. Is it Bentley or Wellington? I can never remember.
It's Wellington Straight at this one.
It's one of them. And there we go, Neil Dubman getting the inside line there on Terry Roughton. This new car for Terry Roughton. He was been in Citroen AX before, and he's just starting to get the hang of this 205 now.
So great battling, but Cooper getting very sideways in that Vauxhall Nova.
Incredible understeer. Yeah, we've got the front wheel drive. Oh dear, and we seem to have a bit of a problem at Terry Roughton. A bit of smoke coming out of there. Oh yes, that doesn't look too happy at all.
No, it doesn't look very healthy, does it? Seems to be unaware as it stands, because it's still smoking down the start and finish straight. So I hope that's not dropping any sort of fluid out the back of it as well. But meanwhile, for the leader of the race, Pete Morgan has absolutely rocketed up to the back of Jason Wood's PDC prepared Nova, and now the Fiesta XR2 in his first appearance of the season, we should say this weekend, is absolutely storming at the moment.
We saw a great demonstration there. The injection car a little bit quicker on the straight, but the XR2 makes it up on the corners. It can brake later, and having raced both of those marks in front, I can tell the differences. And you see down the straight, Pete Morgan be desperately trying to get onto the back of Jason Wood, because towards the end of the straight it favours the injection cars. We can see Ted Cooper going on the outside, proving my point. He's going to snip back onto the inside to try and block off that line. But yeah, a great demonstration on the difference in speeds. But as you can see, the XR2 is back onto the rear bumper of that GT, and he's going to try and get the cut back. He's going to see if the Nova goes a little wider, and he will sneak up the inside, Chris.
It's like classic touring cars. This, I absolutely love it. We're not even a third of the way through the race. Fastest lap of the race has been done by Pete Morgan. That's Terry Roughton's car. That is looking much more worse for wear now and moving slowly on the racetrack. Here comes Jason Wood. So now his new competitor behind him is Ed Cooper, who's just done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:13.6, still some way away from Matt Rosier's 2012 lap record of a 1:12.01. But it's Ed Cooper piling on the pressure now.
Yeah, Ted Cooper, he's returned back to the championship. He's had a couple of years off, family stuff, and he's proven he hasn't lost any of his skills. Now, of course, Pete Morgan has been very wary of that rapid James Hazelhurst 205 machine behind him, but as you can see there, the XR2 gets away out of the corners but lacks the power towards the bottom straight. So Pete will be trying to desperately get into the slipstream of the two Novas in front to try and keep up with them.
I wonder what's different for Ed Cooper this weekend, because it was 7th and 10th for him at Brands Hatch, but here he is now piling the pressure on the race leader.
Yes, he hasn't lost any of his skill. It must have been a good 3 or 4 years he's had off from full-time racing, and he's definitely back on the pace. But say Pete has been racing a very long time, and he knows every trick in the book to try and get on the back of these two Novas.
Great stuff again. 10 minutes to go, and it's less than a second between the top three. Let's see what the gap is when they get over the timing line. Yep, still about 9/10 between the top three. But James Hazelhurst is throwing his hat into the ring for a second podium finish of the season. That Peugeot 205 came here this weekend, third in the championship after a pair of podium finishes at Brands Hatch, and but having to carry an extra 10 kilograms of ballast compared to yesterday, 35 in total.
I was just looking to see where, hats off to Finn Groom. Finn Groom, with that drama of his father being involved in that accident yesterday, has managed to claw back so many places. He's up into 8th place. He's been it was a podium place at Brands Hatch and didn't have a very good qualifying, but he's showing that he can drive that car and is now back on the boot of Lee Scott, a multiple championship winner.
Yeah, and of course he's second in the championship going into this weekend.
James Hazelhurst has now got by Pete Morgan. Now, I know Pete Morgan's carrying 25 kilos, and of course the difference we have with these cars is these tyres, we're running Toyo tyres, and they're not as good as the 048 Yokis that we were using, and I think this weight makes so much more difference on these tyres. It affects them so much more.
So James Hazelhurst in that green Peugeot 205 through into third position for now. That's created a bit more of a buffer for the top two to try and pull away. Only 3/10 between them as they complete lap 5, and it is about 1.3 seconds to the podium battle behind them. So that's going to give them a little bit of space to squabble if they need it. But it's still Jason Wood, as he has done since exiting Copse Corner on the first lap, who leads. But it looks like Ed Cooper's got a run here, and he's pulled a car length ahead on the brakes. Is he going to still be there when they get to the apex of Beckett's? Yes, he is.
Yes,
so
he
Ed
is.
Cooper in the Vauxhall Nova leads.
Oh, what a fantastic move there. And the only difference between them is the ballast weight that Jason Wood is carrying, which, if I remember correctly, is about 15 kilos of ballast he's carrying. And it's obviously affecting for the braking point, but Jason won't sit lightly. As you can see there, he's looking for the outside line. Ed's covering the inside lane. He's going to try and take the faster one, or maybe get the cutback as they enter that very tough Brooklands corner. We're doing about 50, 60 miles. Oh, someone's gone wide. Hazelhurst went well deep into that corner, which meant, and Pete says, thank you very much. And there he is, Jason Wood. He's trying to get on the inside. He's got the cutback down there. Now, can he out-drag him down the start-finish straight?
That's the question. Pete Morgan trying to get the podium place back from James Hazelhurst as well. But we keep an eye out for the leaders as they round Woodcote. Halfway mark in this race. It's absolutely level pegging. Just 100th between them when they went over the timing line. The inside line goes to Jason Wood in the red and black Nova. It's Ed Cooper on the outside line. And it's the Mobil 1 liveried car that just about emerges in front. So Cooper with a stunning move around the outside of Copse. But of course that has now brought in James Hazelhurst and Pete Morgan into the battle.
Yes, they've caught back up with that little bit of tussling in there. James Hazelhurst, we say thank you very much, and Pete Morgan is desperately, as you can see, that Pete Morgan gets right on the boot of that 205. It's almost in the way, but then he's got the problem with the power down this far straight.
So Neil Dubman's not too far behind either, is he? He could definitely close up that gap. It looked like Pete Morgan was trying to have a run at James Hazelhurst, but no way through down the Wellington straight. And so Cooper's starting to build up a little bit of an advantage while James Hazelhurst tries to mount the pressure on Jason Wood, who seemed to struggle around Beckett's on this lap, had locked up his front tyres ever so slightly and was just a little wide of the mark, and that probably compromised his momentum all the way down the Wellington straight. But look at those four cars, absolutely nose to tail. So we go around Woodcote. I can't wait to see what the gap between the top four is going to be. 3/4 of a second, give or take.
Oh, that's incredible. It's great to see these different marks, and looking at the poor old XR2 of Lee Scott. He's the highest placed Mark III machine, but what a cracking race we're seeing, and this is what Classic Hatch will provide you every time. Close racing with these different marks.
Hazelhurst had a bit of a run on Jason Wood. It didn't quite work though, so that's allowed Pete Morgan to come on the outside into Maggots and the right-hander at Beckett's. Is he going to be able to hold that one all the way around the outside? Eventually, the track comes to him, and so he's got a bit of straight now. He try and use that toe from Jason Wood to overcome the power of his rivals as well, because you can see Hazelhurst is breaching that gap already as they come down. Stuart Place has come into pit lane, by the way, the reigning champion, so problems for him.
James Hazelhurst's gone well deep again into that corner. He's just missed his braking point, and now that brings Neil Dudman into the mix.
It certainly does. He's now up into 4th position aboard the Peugeot 205. Brands Hatch winner, of course. That was his first win in the Classic Stock Hatch Championship last time out in race number 2, and now gets himself up into 4th position at the behest of James Hazelhurst, who lost 2 positions, and now comes Dudman for 3rd position on Pete Morgan on the inside.
He's going to get that. He got that great big run out of there, and of course, yes, he definitely. And then also James Hazelhurst has got by him as well. What a cracking move that was. He was trying to duck left, right. He chose right, and it paid off for him.
And of course, that's allowing the top 2 to get away ever so slightly.
Oh,
but
no,
either side of Dudman going into Maggots, and Morgan's got the inside line for the following right-hander. Yeah, bit of grass there, hopping over the curb, but it is the number 2 Ford Fiesta that comes out in 3rd position, only just ahead of James Hazelhurst in the similar 205.
Of course, all this tussling is meaning the Novas are getting away here. And then we go 3 abreast as we head down to Brooklands. Now, this is going to be it looks like Pete slowed up a little bit there, but he gets back onto the boot as he goes round that very sharp left-hander onto this very tricky car's trying to wash out all the time. But what a fantastic race.
Absolutely brilliant, as Jason Wood looked like he had some momentum there against Ed Cooper on the exit of Luffield. 4 laps to go, then we complete the end of lap number 9 as they come across the stripe, and Jason Wood is looking about as racy as he has done for a few laps now. Cooper's parked it in the middle of the racetrack, but no attempt from Wood as they head into the high-speed right-hander, just over a 1/10 of a second separating them when they went over the timing line. Hazelhurst still leading the battle for the last spot on the podium ahead of Dudman and Morgan.
It looks like they've almost shook Pete Morgan, but they're going to hopefully they try and work together, try and catch up. Any one of these could be fill the final spot here. As I say, Neil Dudman won his first race at Brands just a few weeks ago, and let's see, he's got back up. But Pete on that corner again, he's got a great exit, but just lacks the power on these straights.
It's very wide for Hazelhurst in 3rd position, coming out of Maggots, as that opened up the door for Neil Dudman on the inside at Brooklands. No, not
sneaky
quite.
Little peak there, wasn't he?
It certainly was. Oh, he's wide again, is Hazelhurst. He's made that mistake already in this race, so that allows Dudman to draw alongside on the exit of the corner, but of course the track swings right. Difficult to go around the outside of this long right-hander, so may have to settle for 4th position for now. 2.5 minutes to go as they come across the stripe once again.
Yeah, I can't call that one. And for the front 2 as well. So again, Jason Wood gets a great exit onto the start-finish straight, right on the boot lid of the Ted Cooper machine, but seems to lose it towards on the braking point for there. But here we are looking at these 205s of James Hazelhurst and Neil Dudman. They're battling away. So we've got the Novas battling away for 1st and 2nd. We've got 205s battling for the 3rd place position, and Pete Morgan is just hoping that they're going to trip up.
That Dudman had a look on the outside, but couldn't quite draw an overlap, and he takes a little bit more of the curb and a bit extra going through Beckett's, and so as they come down the back straight, the Wellington straight once again, it's still pretty level pegging between Hazelhurst and Dudman, but the sort of bumblebee liveried car right in the toe of Hazelhurst, and still Hazelhurst is able to keep clear. And we've got to bear in mind that Hazelhurst is running the most ballast out of anyone, 35 kilos, but again he runs wide into Brooklands.
Yeah, as I say, I think that weight is definitely telling, especially towards this late stage in the race. I think he's going to be really struggling with understeering his tyres, and Neil Dudman knows, mind you, he's carrying 25 kilograms himself. I think so that'd be interesting to see how that pays towards we must be about 2 laps left, I reckon.
Yeah, they just went over the line with about 4 seconds to spare for an extra lap, I think, so 2 to go.
Oh, and see, again, Jason has got right behind that Ted Cooper machine, making sure that Ted knows he's right there, ready to pounce. There's the 205s, again on that long straight. As you can see, they lose a bit of space to the XR2. The XR2 loses behind because of the lack of power. And there they go side by side. Neil Dudman's now got the inside line. No, he's just been outbraked by James Hazelhurst. No, but James has gone wide again. And Neil Dudman snuck up the inside. He's got the inside down. There's going to be a huge drag to all the ends. But if James can hang... No, Neil has definitely got in front as they head down that straight.
Here comes Pete Morgan as well in the Ford Fiesta. Hasn't quite got the same straight line speed, so he can't really compete down the straight, but he really wants to.
He's definitely there. He's ready to pounce.
So it is now Neil Dudman up into third position aboard the number 48 car, the Brands Hatch race winner, currently on the rostrum, but we still have one more tour of the Silverstone National Circuit to go. It is a three-way fight for third position. It is a two-way fight for the lead, with Ed Cooper still leading Jason Wood, but not by much at all. So here come the leaders. Last lap board is displayed, and is Jason Wood now making his move for the lead? He pulls out to the outside, side by side for third as well, with Hazelhurst on the outside line of Neil Dudman. Wood settles back into second position as they head back through the right-hander.
Yes, this is getting very close to third place. I can't call at all. It's only the first. I mean, you can see that Jason Wood is ready to pounce. He's desperate for a second win. But Ted, I mean, what a showing this is. Like I say, he's been away for a few years from full-time racing, and he's showing he can still pedal this Nova. Looking further back, Pete looking up the inside of James Hillsworth on that corner. But again, Pete's going to have that problem. He's got to try and get in the slipstream, and he has. He's got past James. So now Pete's just got Neil Dudman in front of him. But Neil Dudman's going to have the power down the straight. So it's the last few corners. Oh, and we're looking at Jason Wood looking inside, outside. He's going to try the outside line, trying to get the cut back, trying to get a better exit from this very tricky left-hander. But no, it looks like, Ted is taking a great line. Now no, Jason can't quite cut back on him. Oh, what a fantastic show of racing this is. No, but Jason's got the inside. He's got on the inside.
He's got a run.
Oh, he's got a good run on the outside, but Ted's got a good run on the outside. Just got the edge. Oh.
It's going to be Ed Cooper, who takes race 2 of the Vulcan Racing Classic Stock Hatch Championship at Silverstone, not by much at all, a tenth of a second as they went over the line. Neil Dudman beating James Hazelhurst to the line, who managed to get back past Pete Morgan in the closing stages there. Lee Scott in 6th position. But, Paul, that was an absolutely staggering race.
Oh, my goodness. I need some oxygen. Anyone got any oxygen in here? This is Classic Stock Hatch in a nutshell. It's great, close racing. That was a hell of a show there between the battles of the two Novas and the two 205s to see who was better, and they were all carrying weight of some sort. What a great showing that was.
Absolutely incredible, and it is a first victory since returning to the championship for Ed Cooper, with Jason Wood settling for second. Once again this weekend, Neil Dudman picks up third after his victory at Brands Hatch. James Hazelhurst just missing out on the podium, as did Pete Morgan. Lee Scott, somewhat lonely race there in 6th position, and then Ryan Clark leading Darren Bassingthwaite over the line. Jacob Wood in 9th position, with Matthew Stubbington completing the top 10. Fingroom and Peter Oglesby ahead of Ewan Lice and Jack Bradburn in 14th position. Then came David Shakey, Sam Hutchinson, Derek Rosier, Alan Dooley, and then we lost Tom Lintz, Stuart Place, Martin Rogers and Terry Roughton with mechanicals, most of them coming into pit lane to come off the racetrack. So we will wait to hear from our podium finishers in that race, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing the thoughts of Jason Wood, Ed Cooper and Neil Dudman, of course. As Ed Cooper does pull into the number 1 spot, that's got to be a pretty great feeling, I'd have thought.
Like I said, he's had a couple of seasons off, and he's shown that he can still pedal this car. And he'll be over the moon with that. I'm trying to think of the last time that Ted was actually on the podium. I know he's won at Donington, but I think this might even be only his second win of his entire racing career, and he's going to be well chuffed with that. He's just grabbing his breath there, getting his crash helmet off, and there's Jason Wood. He tried his best to try and catch and overtake and stay in front of that number 4 machine, but as you can see, he's absolutely shattered there. And from experience, I know, look at that. That's the camaraderie in the Classic Stock Hatch.
Let's hear from our top 3 with Kieran downstairs.
Can see there some lovely moments between Ed Cooper, Jason Wood and Neil Dudman, as a mutual respect between all 3 drivers. If I could jump in with Ed here, that's my God, you had to defend that one.
Yeah, I think for the last 4 laps I was saying, please be the flag, and then I saw, last lap, and then he nearly had me, but managed to hang on to the end, which was brilliant.
Yeah,
last one in 2012.
Yeah, they were saying obviously it's your first win since coming back, so it's obviously been 13 years. That's got to feel good.
I've only been away for 3, to be fair, but yes, I couldn't get the hang of these new tyres at the first round, which I did at Brands Hatch, and now I have, thanks to a lot of the people in the paddock that gave me a lot of tips. So, big thanks to them.
And obviously after the, let's say, shenanigans of yesterday, it's nice to obviously end the race like this.
Absolutely, it was we were sort of on for a good battle, the top 5 yesterday. It all stopped, but luckily everyone's all right, which is the main thing.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the win.
Very much.
Thank you. We'll move on to Jason Wood as he quickly takes his photo for the 750 socials. And so, Jason, if we just jump in with you, I don't think you could have tried much more than that.
No, I tried to save everything to the last couple of laps and tried to push Ted on to get a bit of a gap between us and third and fourth, because that was a bit of a tussle. Once we got that gap, and then I started to try and catch him back up, but I got so close in his bump draft down the start-finish straight, I missed the apex a couple of times and washed out, and it lost me a little time, so I had to back out a little bit, give him a bit of room and try and make up a place where I could. So down to the last lap was interesting, to be fair. Good drive from Ted.
And so it was a deliberate effort to try and pull away from third, fourth and fifth, obviously, so not battle straight away.
Absolutely, yeah. Tried to get a bit of space for me and Ted, so, let them do what they need to behind us, and we can go and have a bit of race foot in the first and second, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, either way, still a podium, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you. We'll move on to Neil Dudman. And Neil, you're probably one of the busiest people in that race. That was impressive.
Yeah. Well, once again, Classic Stock Hatch, the best racing of the weekend, in my opinion, and I think we all showed it there. The top 5, amazing, great skill, great camaraderie between all the different drivers, giving each other room, going for it, absolutely fantastic.
Between you, James, and Pete, it was a proper tussle.
Yeah, I think Pete must have been a bit down on top end power. James and I so very equal, and there's some bits where I was quicker, some bits where he was quicker, and yeah, we just gave each other little room. He gave me a little love tap on the last lap, but I think I didn't know he was on the outside of me. So yeah, all brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Thanks to Joe Green Racing, Schaefer Race Developments and Absolute Alignment for their ongoing support, and 750 for putting on amazing weekends.
Well said. Well, congratulations on the podium.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers, thank you very much. Right, coming up next is the lunch break. So, we're going to see you in just a minute or two.